I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Nobody thinks they have trust issues until they try to delegate something. And then, oh my God, we realize, yeah, I don't think either I can do it or they can do it or my manager can do it. And everything goes out the window. And that's what we're going to talk about today. How to actually tap into where this trust issue exists so you can stop feeling like you have to do everything yourself. I'm Lia Garvin, and this is the new Manager Playbook. All right, so what do I mean when I say, nobody knows they have trust issues until we start delegating? Well, I think a lot of us feel like we're in the weeds, we're overwhelmed, we're inundated with work, we can't figure out what to focus on next. And we think that it's maybe a skills thing, our team members can't quite cut it, or they're not ready, or we just say we don't have time, or we say, well, my manager wants to know all the information. What actually is the common thing there? This is a trust thing. If we say our team members aren't quite ready or they need a lot of hand-holding things, this is that we don't trust that team member. If we say we don't have time, we just can't stop what we're doing, we don't actually trust ourselves. Maybe we don't know how to actually explain this thing because it's so intuitive to ourselves. Maybe we feel like we, are scared we might miss a step and we don't realize that's what's going on, but it's actually that we don't trust that we'll be able to explain it right. And then maybe we feel like, well, I'd love to delegate, but I got my manager breathing down my neck. And if I let go for 1 second, they're going to think, what the hell do I even do here? And that third one, the managing up issue, is what I want to talk about today, because this is something I don't think we spend enough time on, talking about the importance of managing up when it comes to delegating, because this issue is really pointing towards a trust building opportunity between you and your own manager or your own client or your own VP, or your own stakeholder, whoever it is. And when we're not delegating because we think someone's going to be coming to us for the answers, gosh, it's actually a really easy solution if we actually set it up well. So I want to share a story about years ago. I was working in tech and I had to manage this event one year. And if anybody knows anything about working in tech, they love demos. It is like the Oscars of working in big tech, is showing your product in a demo. It is so exciting for everyone. And I put together this demo fest where we had 100 different demos across all our team. We rented out a big auditorium, we had food, we had all these things. And putting that event together was my worst nightmare because I do not like planning events. It freaks me out. It is so scary. What if no one shows up, or what if something goes wrong and everyone blames me? And it's like, ugh. That keeps me up at night. But the first year I did it, I really, because I was so panicked about it, I did a really good job with it. I overthought every detail. I panicked till the end, and it went well. And so our VP, being that demos are the Oscars of tech, he loved this event. And the rest of the year was gearing up for Demo Fest year 2. And I was like, please no. But anyway, I ended up hiring a team member, a program manager under me, and she loved planning events. This was her moment. And so I thought, yes, oh my God, I have the perfect situation. I can delegate this to a team member who's actually wants to do this in the first place, lets me off the hook. And this is in her sweet spot. She was going to really crush this. So it was all set up great. Now, when we kicked off this project, our VP wanted to know every single detail. So he was asking my boss every single detail. And I was feeling like, well, I want to let go. I want to delegate this. I don't want to be running this event. But if I let go, my manager's I'm not going to be able to give her an update. And then it's going to look like, well, what am I doing here? And so I felt really stuck. Initially, I would just be very far in the weeds, and my team member started getting frustrated. And she's like, hey, listen, you said you don't even like dealing with events. What are you doing in all my meetings? And I realized this was a moment where I was going to kind of sabotage this project by not managing up. And not dealing with the real issue was setting expectations with my own manager. And again, this is where that trust thing comes in that I talked about, was that I was worried that she wouldn't think that I had handled this well, or that she didn't trust me to be able to know what I should offload, right? And even if that wasn't even what she was thinking, there was a moment that I had to actually deal with that so that I could let my team run with something that she was really good at that I didn't even want to do. So this is the moment that I think a lot of us miss, right? Is stopping and saying, wait a second. This block I'm having is really getting in the way of letting someone on my team excel. But the block wasn't being caused by me, so to speak. It was pressure my own manager was feeling from her manager, right? So it was kind of a domino situation. So I went to my manager and I said, hey, I know you're getting a lot of pressure from our VP, and I want to share how I've set this up. So I have offloaded, I have, our team member managing the demo fest here, and she really has this whole plan. I'm really excited about it, this whole vision. It's taking what what I did last year, like 10xing it. It's going to be awesome. And here's what she has in progress. Here's her project plan. She and I are going to be meeting every Wednesday to talk about it. Is it okay if I update you every Thursday morning? We can walk through the plan in detail, address any questions then. And by sharing with her little under the hood insight into what I had worked out with my own team member, she could say, yeah, totally. That's great. Like, I just wanted to make sure you had a plan. And I think this is the thing that happens to us sometimes. When our own manager is breathing down our neck and asking us stuff, we assume, oh, they don't trust me. They don't think I'm a good leader. They don't think this. They just want to do it themselves. And actually, all my manager wanted to know was like, yeah, I did have a plan. I thought it through and I'm getting updated, and she will have a way to be kept in the loop. So this is where the trust thing comes up again, right? Is that like, maybe it's not as bad as we think it is if we just bring clarity and communicate what's going on. So in that situation, I shared the plan with my manager and she said, okay. And there will be some times where our VP wants an answer right now and we've got to go get it for him. Then I was able to relay that back to my team member. And she said, okay, like I get it. But then I was able to create space on both ends. And this is why I always talk about how all these strategies I share make it easier for you, because this makes it easier for you to focus on what you want to be focusing on, because you delegated this thing and now you can literally let it go and let it run and go ahead with it. And that was a pivotal moment for me to see, because it actually built trust on both sides and it let me scale myself and not do this event that I wasn't supposed to be doing anyway and focus on something else. Like I think I had to be working on hiring a new team member, which actually was really time investing, right? And so let's recap some of the skills that I deployed and how you'd reproduce this in your team. And I think truly it's about, if you're struggling with delegating and you're like, oh, I don't know where it's really showing up. I'm feeling a block towards it. I'm really resisting. First of all, if you don't really recognize if you're resisting it, if you're feeling overwhelmed, underwater, and you have a team, there is an opportunity to delegate something. I'm just going to tell you that. Like, you can write me an email and tell me I'm wrong if you feel like there's nothing you can delegate, but there's really always an opportunity to delegate something, in my opinion. Let's just say that. Call it what it is. So we want to identify, well, is it we're not trusting ourselves to actually slow down and figure out what those steps look like? And a quick hack for what I do in that situation is I will run through a task, recording it on Loom, that video recording software, and narrate what I'm doing. And I'll say, okay, first sending an email to a client with a deck. First I'll open up, I'll open up Gmail. I grab my template. I write this. First, I make sure that they hadn't sent me an email before. I'll reference something we had just talked about. Literally narrate step by step what you're doing, because now you have a literal video SOP or like task list of how you're going to handle that next time. This makes it really easy to hand that off. So that's a really great thing to do if you're feeling like I don't have time to stop. I can't think of it. And I don't really know what I'm doing in the process. Forcing yourself to narrate it, that's actually going to really help. Now, if it's managing up or managing down, all of that comes down to setting expectations. And I know I've talked about what this looks like in a number of different episodes. So I won't go into detail exactly, total depth, because we'll save that for another conversation. But it means talking about what you're doing. What is the plan? What are the non-negotiables? When are you going to be reviewing stuff? When are you going to update? What does success look like? Those are the fundamentals of setting expectations. So I did that with the team member around, hey, we got to get, updates every Wednesday. We're going to be checking in here. Here's what done looks like. Here's what a great job looks like. And then you set, when you're managing up and you want to create space to delegate, you're setting expectations that way, right? I told my manager, okay, here's what I've made a plan with my team member about. Here's how we'll fill you in. And here's what we do when the VP comes in hot with some updates they're wanting. See what I mean? So when we actually utilize these tools, right? When we put them to use, I told you they'd come in handy. When we do this, we create so much space. And not only do we set people up for success, but it has these secondary benefits, like it's building trust. Because in showing my manager that I had a really solid plan for this, she's like, oh, wow, we can, like, Leah's got this. I don't need to worry about this anymore. And she maybe even communicated that to the VP, like, God, I'm really proud of how Leah's running this demo fest. She ran it on her own last year and now she scaled it and her team members running it. Like, this is how we demonstrate our competencies, right? And if we are, if we're a business owner, this is how we really show our team, like our clients, that we have a powerhouse team. A question that I get sometimes from business owners is like, when they're delivering the service, that, my clients just want me. It's really hard for me to scale my team. This also shows up in agencies, whether you're corporate or independent, that, you have that creative director and everyone wants to work with them. And they're like, do I want to work with the B team? And it's on you to show that it's not a B team, that you have handpicked experts to actually, be doing the job the best they can. So if you're running a creative creative agency, you have this perfect person that does 3D because this project's for that, or this really awesome person that does emotion, or really understands like where TikTok's going, whatever it looks like. It's on you to amplify your team. And that's actually the parallel to managing up. What I was talking about is that you saying, oh, I have this person on this project because that is going to give you the best result. And here's how I'm making sure that I'm still looped into it. So I'm really translating your vision. That is how we make sure everybody sees like, yeah. And it gives them more trust in you because you have identified the right people to solve that problem. Okay. So fear of delegating, hate to tell you, spoiler, it's a trust issue, but it's not one that we can't overcome. And when we try these strategies, I assure you that it would get so much easier. Now, still, this is delegating specifically is one of the biggest challenges that managers that run into, because it can feel when we're under so much pressure. Like, I just don't know what to delegate. I can't figure it out. My team members are like, no, don't put anything more on my plate. And I don't want to do it. My own manager's pressuring me. So I just want to say, this is one of the areas that I have dove deep, very, very deep with teams and help them find relief. So if this is something your team members are really struggling with, time management, kind of a trust, feeling in the weeds, these are all signals that there's some delegating opportunities. Send me an email, hello@liagarvin.com. I have a specific workshop that really addresses this and has given teams immediate relief, like saving them 4, 5, 6 hours a week, which translates to thousands of dollars a week, a month that saves back in your business that can be reinvested in other places, right? If you're in the corporate world, that's all time that can be spent on other projects. So this relief that I'm able to create by focusing in on exactly what's getting in the way of delegating, this is something that's going to be game changing. So if your team is feeling stuck with this specifically, send me an email, hello@liagarvin.com, and I will share more about this workshop that's just going to be game changing for your team. All right. See you next time.